What's up, we are back, and today, every single NFL playoff scenario heading into the final week of the NFL season. Smash the like button, smash subscribe button, join the Discord linked down below, and let's see who's making the NFL playoffs. We're going to do some playoff prediction videos as well. We're going to get a Dolphins versus Bills prediction, maybe a Texans versus Colts, because that game's important too. But let's go through every single playoff scenario this week. Starting off with the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys. What's their scenario? Their scenario is winning the NFC East. Basically, the 1 seed, or the 2 seed, or the 5 seed is between the Eagles and Cowboys. One of them's getting 2 seed most likely, one of them's getting 5 seed. Depends what the Lions do and if the Cowboys win and whatnot. But Cowboys can win the NFC East if they win versus the Washington Commanders. Alright, seems like a sealed deal. Surely they beat Sam Howell and the Commanders, right? Or they lose versus the Commanders, who knows how, and the Eagles will lose to the Giants. I think the Eagles beat the Giants, but I also think that the Cowboys will beat the Commanders. Therefore, Cowboys should probably win the NFC East. The Philadelphia Eagles can win the NFC East with a win versus the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys losing versus Washington. So that's how the 2 seed most likely will be decided, and the winner of the NFC East. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The NFC South is up for grabs between the Buccaneers, Saints, and Falcons. The Buccaneers will win the NFC South if they beat the Panthers. The Buccaneers lost to the Saints last week. They could have clinched the NFC South, but they showed. The Saints played amazing, and they beat the Buccaneers. However, all the Buccaneers have to do is beat the Panthers. Come on, bro. Should be pretty easy. The Saints will win the NFC South with a win versus the Falcons. Okay, that's possible. And the Buccaneers losing to the Panthers. Yeah, I don't know about that. Saints probably not winning the NFC South. However, the Saints can get into the playoffs, even if the Buccaneers beat the Panthers. If they win versus the Falcons, okay. And the Packers have to lose versus the Bears. Packers are fighting for the NFL playoffs as well. That's pretty sus. And then we have the Seahawks have to lose to the Cardinals. So if the Buccaneers win versus the Panthers, which they probably will, the Saints most likely aren't making the playoffs, but they can make the playoffs with some help if the Packers and Seahawks both lose. The Falcons, they can win the NFC South too. How do they win? They have to beat the Saints. All right, that's one thing they have to do. And then they need the Buccaneers to lose versus the Panthers. I think the Buccaneers will handle business, so the Falcons not looking too good. The Green Bay Packers are in the playoffs right now. They will win the playoff berth and probably the 7th seed with a win versus the Bears. The end, they're in. They control their own destiny. They just have to beat the Chicago Bears. Or the Saints lose versus the Falcons. The Seahawks lose to the Cardinals, and the Vikings lose to the Lions. Or the Buccaneers lose to the Panthers, and the Seahawks lose to the Cardinals, and the Vikings lose to the Lions. Vikings losing to the Lions is possible. Seahawks losing to the Cardinals, maybe not, but the Cardinals did just beat the Eagles. And then, of course, we have the Buccaneers losing to the Panthers. Nope. Or the Saints losing to the Falcons. It's tough. Really, they just have to win and get it. Seahawks can make the playoffs with a win versus the Seahawks. Seahawks will make it with a win versus the Cardinals and a Packers loss to the Bears. So Seahawks are going to need some help from the Packers to lose, and they have to handle their own destiny. And then the Vikings to finish off the last NFC thing right here. We have the Vikings can make the playoffs with a lot of help. They have to beat the Lions, which first off, that's not happening. So we're going to go through this quick. The Vikings have to beat the Lions. Then the Packers lose to the Bears, Seahawks lose to the Cardinals, Saints lose to the Falcons, or Packers lose to the Bears, Seahawks lose to the Cardinals, and Buccaneers lose to the Panthers. They're out. It's not happening. Sorry, Vikings fans, it's not happening. Let's head over to the AFC. Dolphins win the AFC East with, drumroll please, all they have to do is beat the Buffalo Bills. We're going to make a whole video around the Dolphins versus Bills game and who's winning. Bills win the AFC East with a win versus the Dolphins. Whoever wins that game wins the AFC East. But if the Bills lose that game, they can still make the playoffs if the Steelers lose to the Ravens backups, because the Ravens already got the 1 seed. So that's tough. Or the Jaguars lose to the Titans. Probably not happening. Here's why. The Jaguars win the AFC South with a win versus the Tennessee Titans. Jaguars win and in versus a bad team. Trevor Lawrence better play this game. Jaguars, if they lose versus the Titans, can clinch the playoff berth with a Pittsburgh Steelers loss versus the Ravens and a Denver Broncos loss versus the Raiders. Yeah, so that's also a possible scenario. the Jaguars really want to win. The Colts can win the AFC South with a win versus the Texans and a Jaguars loss, or they can get in the playoffs with a win versus the Texans. They clinch the playoff berth with that, basically. The Texans can win the AFC South with a win versus the Colts and a Jacksonville loss to Tennessee. I don't think Jacksonville's going to lose to Tennessee, so that's the AFC South's probably not up for grabs. However, basically whoever wins Texans versus Colts makes the playoffs, and the other team not looking too hot. The Steelers clinch the playoff berth with some help. They have to beat the Baltimore Ravens backups. That's possible, even though Mason Rudolph is probably going to be quarterback. But they have to beat the Baltimore Ravens, and then Jacksonville loses to the Titans. Yikes. Beat the Baltimore Ravens, and the Bills lose to the Dolphins. That's possible. Or the Jaguars lose to the Titans, the Broncos lose to the Raiders, and that'll be another possibility right there. So that's all the NFL playoff scenarios heading into the final week of the NFL season, Week 18. Who's making it? Stay tuned for the NFL playoff predictions, the Dolphins versus Bills predictions. Smash the subscribe button, smash the like button. Peace out.